Mr Speaker, somewhere today, and because of the turning off of electronic devices, I think it's Kindness Day or Compassionate Day or Say Something Nice Day, as opposed to speak across the chamber negatively at people. What I wanted to...
Question 5.
What I wanted to speak today was about work undertaken over the summer period, the time where some people took a break. In my particular area of responsibility in small business, and the work that I did with Rebecca White, leader of the Labor Party, with the Labor economic team and members across the Labor team to connect in with small business and to work with them to understand the challenges that they have faced and continue to face over the period of time since the borders reopened. One of the things that I found particularly challenging in that time is the duality of public conversation, public reflection of how people felt businesses were tracking over that period of time, and in fact, in making the effort to go and connect with businesses, hearing firsthand of the devastation, of the weight and the distress that many businesses across Tasmania, across all sectors of the economy, have been and for some continue to feel. I note that in the Premier's address just then, he, as many other members of the government, have said repeatedly over the last couple of months, we've done a lot to support small business. If we need to do more, we will. And when you're a small business and you're in distress now, having supported, again, as the Premier just said and as people repeatedly say, rely upon and expect that small businesses across Tasmania drive the economy, that small businesses across Tasmania hold up our communities, many regional communities, and provide essential services, support and engagement and connection into our communities, that it didn't take much effort to pick up a phone, walk down a street, take the time to check in with those people and hear actually what was happening. And what did we hear? So right across Tassie, from all corners of this state, from our islands, from our regional communities and right in our cities, CBDs, we heard from small businesses that they were being challenged on a number of approaches. That, and just recently, and I know fellow member for Bass, Mr Ferguson, also took the opportunity to meet with the National Small Business and Family Enterprise Ombudsman when he was meeting here. But one of the things that I remember him saying is there is no substitute for customers. And it's in fact something that I have heard him say on more than one occasion. In fact, what we heard from small businesses across Tasmania is that once borders opened, that customers almost literally disappeared. That there were times, particularly in the town that I live in Launceston, in the CBD, in the mall areas, and in those areas that would normally be thriving over a summer, it was like tumbleweeds. There was crickets. And I know we heard similar stories in Hobart and then in regional tourism centres, but not only tourism centres, but towns that have great industry, streets were empty. There were no customers. I spoke to someone just recently that said they opened their doors and usually they would have 5 to 10 people in their premises all day, every day. Not one person through the door. Still now, those challenges are being faced. So the Labor team got out there, we did the work, we connected to understand what the challenges were in small business, and it's not what we're hearing from the government. It's not that there's confidence, it's not that they're doing well, or that the current round of business support has actually met the mark. There has been announcements about how many people actually applied for grants, suggesting that there wasn't really much need for the grants because not many people applied. Well, I can tell you, when speaking to people in tears about how they're going to not only pay the responsibilities financially for their business, but not only how they're going to therefore pay their personal bills or support the families that they employ and then their family members that they support, how are they going to actually make ends meet at the end of the day? They didn't have the energy they were overwhelmed and found it too complicated to apply. And why would they apply for an amount of money that once may be secured, and we've had lots of people that actually were rejected even though they have had devastation in their businesses, that it was just too hard and the amount of money offered wasn't going to make the difference. We're hearing of businesses that have lost in periods of trade over these last couple of months $5, $10, $20, $60, $150,000 in a week. That's not going to actually be fixed with a $1,000, a $2,000 or a $5,000 support. So Labor did the work, and we recommended that businesses needed cash flow support, they needed payroll support, they needed support to understand what actually was happening. They wanted to feel like they were being listened to. We felt that workers needed more support, and in fact our community needed encouragement. They needed leadership. There has been a lack of leadership from the government to be encouraged to safely go back out into community and support this business. So we also recommended stimulus measures and confidence measures. What we know is that across Tasmania we have been hearing from the engine room of our economy, from the respected people that we know work so hard to keep together our regional communities, that they have felt let down, that they're disappointed, that they're angry, that they know there is no leadership or understanding, a complete disconnect and out-of-touch government that is not understanding what they need. In recent weeks there's been a suggestion there's an uptick in the economy, and that is fantastic. We have always known this was the chapter. But for anybody that understands small business, they know that when you are experiencing losses, when you are having a challenging time, it takes months to trade through this. We know that we're about to hit the season of winter. What our small businesses need right now is for people to understand, to take the time to connect, to respect them, to find out exactly what they need to trade through these months, to make it to the next season, where we know many of these operators, some that have had businesses for 20, 30 years, that are at the top of their game, that are recognised as icons of Tasmania, need the support to get through these chapters that are facing them, to get through to the next summer, to continue to support brand Tasmania, continue to support the great reputation that is so openly talked about, in order that they can continue to trade and support themselves and their community.